Nigeria's petroleum industry is facing fresh controversy following serious allegations made by Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, against the leadership of a key regulatory agency. In a video circulating publicly, Dangote accuses the chief executive of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Farouk Ahmed, of abusing his office in ways that harm the industry. These allegations come at a sensitive time for Nigeria's energy sector, a period marked by fuel subsidy reforms, pricing volatility, and growing dependence on local refining to stabilize supply. Dangote, a major player in the supply chain industry and the promoter of the multi-billion-dollar Dangote refinery, has been a central figure in Nigeria's push toward energy self-sufficiency. His comments therefore carry significant weight, from importers and depot owners to transporters and retailers.
So, and I don't know why, we should continue to allow, some corrupt government officials to try and destroy a whole sector of the economy. And I think it is something that when you look at it, I've had actually people making complaint about a regulator who has actually put his children in secondary school, and that secondary school education, which is 6 years, 4 of them cost Nigeria $5 million. I mean, you cannot imagine somebody paying $5 million for educating 5 children. Even my own children, they didn't go to those schools. My children went to Nigerian secondary school. They didn't go outside Nigeria to attend to secondary school. I don't know about your children, Tony, but mine, yes. So, and this is a system that, some of us, because we're taxpayers. When people are complaining, we also complain, because the issue is that, yes, when I pay tax, I want to see that my money is being put to use, not to be stolen. But today, as we speak, the S, I don't know what is the, that is the authority chief executive, Malam Farouk. Malam Farouk has 4 of his children that he educated in Switzerland at the cost of $5 million for their secondary school education alone, not university. And I know that one of them just finished Harvard. So I want to now see what kind of system are we operating, that people are now busy destroying a country, taking money from the government. Because when you look at his income does not match paying this kind of fees. I think even if it's me paying $5 million for 6 years for my 4 children, the taxman has to look at my taxes, how much I paid. And really, this sort of thing, we're not going to allow it to continue. We'll take it up to the highest authority so that they will look at it. People who have done something wrong must be prosecuted. It must be prosecuted, because there is actually no way where somebody will now come. I mean, today, from where he comes from, Sokoto, people are struggling to pay 100,000 naira for school fees of secondary school. And a lot of children are at home, not going to school because of 100,000 naira.
At the time of this report, no court ruling or independent investigation has confirmed these claims. However, Nigeria's anti-corruption agency, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, has confirmed receipt of a petition from Mr. Dangote and stated that it will review the allegations in line with its mandate. As of recording, no findings have been announced. However, the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Farouk Ahmed, has issued a public written response. which is outlined later in this report. Following the public allegations, the Chief Executive Officer of the NMDPRA, Farouk Ahmed, has issued a detailed written response rejecting claims of wrongdoing. Ahmed states that allegations surrounding the funding of his children's education ignore verifiable financial facts and misrepresent the nature of his role as an independent petroleum sector regulator. According to him, the education of his children was funded through a combination of merit-based scholarships, long-standing family education trust funds, and personal savings accumulated over more than 30 years in public service. He directly disputed claims that $5 million was spent on Swiss secondary education, describing the figure as misleading and lacking proper context. Ahmed disclosed that 3 of his 4 children received merit-based scholarships covering between 40 and 65% of tuition costs, awarded strictly on academic performance. Documentation exists and can be reviewed by authorized investigators. Additional funding came from education trust funds established by his late father before 2018, in line with a family tradition prioritizing collective investment in education. The remaining costs were covered through personal savings built over 3 decades of uninterrupted service in Nigeria's petroleum regulatory institutions, beginning with his entry into civil service in 1991. Ahmed also highlighted that his annual remuneration, estimated at about 48 million naira, including allowances, is publicly disclosed in audited financial statements, and that his assets are declared annually to the Code of Conduct Bureau. He said all income sources, investments, and significant expenditures are documented and available for scrutiny, and publicly authorized schools attended by his children to release financial records to authorized investigators. Ahmed dismissed suggestions that illicit funds could have been used to pay foreign school fees, noting that overseas institutions require legitimate and traceable payments. On regulation, Ahmed said the allegations emerged amid stricter enforcement of the Petroleum Industry Act by NMDPRA, including tougher licensing requirements, fuel quality controls, transparent pricing mechanisms, and public disclosure of supply and import data. He argued that regulatory independence often creates friction with powerful commercial interests, insisting that the authorities' actions are guided by law and national interest rather than private business preferences. With both sides now presenting sharply different accounts, attention has shifted to Nigeria's anti-corruption agencies, particularly the ICPC, which has confirmed receipt of a petition and says its review process is ongoing. What follows next will be determined not by public statements, but by evidence, due process, and institutional accountability.